Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Small and Rural Libraries Forum with the Illinois Library Association. This is one of our monthly meetups on different topics chosen by members of the Small and Rural Libraries Forum about topics that are of interest to you. So today we are doing outreach strategies for rural libraries with Rene Leyva, Executive Director from the Fossil Ridge Public Library District. And he is going to go through some slides, share some ideas with you, and then we'll have a conversation. We can network and talk and crowdsource about the different strategies of how to bring people into your libraries and how to meet the needs of library users that aren't in the building. So just to let everybody know that this is being recorded and it will be up on YouTube, and you can access it via the website, the Small and Rural Libraries Forum. There's a landing page of all the different meetups. And yes, there will be another one coming up, I think, in November. So we're continuing to do this. Please join us for meetings if you have any ideas about what you'd like to see the forum doing. It is open to any and all Illinois library workers to join the conversation and attend any of these events or meetings. So with that, I will turn it over to Rene.
Thank you, Kristen. It's always a delight seeing your face. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. This should be a lot of fun. It's one of the areas that I think even working at the library, there's always more to discover. So I'm just going to start off, introduce myself. Again, my name is Rene Leyva. I'm the Executive Director of the Fossil Ridge Public Library District. I'm also currently the president of Rails, which is Reaching Across Illinois Library System, which is always fun. In regards to Fossil Ridge, we represent 10 communities with 14,254 residents within 3 different counties, Will, Kankakee, and Grundy, surrounding at about 160 square miles. I currently have 13 staff members, 7 which are full-time. So I first want to say to everyone, everyone is doing great. Everyone is doing phenomenal. I'm going to stop my video so that the presentation can do everything. So give me 1 second. There you go. There you go. So the first thing I want to say is everyone here is doing great. I personally understand the amount of time it takes to work with a low budget. As a previous director of a not-for-profit with a slim budget, I recall it being difficult during COVID times. And I can recall letting go of an employee not for his performance, but due to budgetary reasons. My budget at this moment is $1.1 million, with 60% of it coming from our power plant. It might seem like enough funds to operate, but our daily challenge is maintaining relevancy in a world where our packages better get to our door within 24 hours after we click the purchase button. Since 2021, my goal has been to increase our presence in all of our communities that are happy to have us. I also created the communications and marketing specialist position to solely focus on this matter. With a background in marketing, I understand the importance of sending the right message at the right time, because it doesn't matter if we offer a $20,000 service if no one knows about it. It hasn't done anything to improve our worth to our taxpayers if the word is not out there or there's nothing to show for it. Since 2021, my goal has been to increase our presence, like I stated. And so today we will be discussing how it can easily be done by you, a trusted employee or a committed volunteer. Shout out to the Friends of the Libraries. If you have some. If you have none, we can still work with local businesses or think about grants from your local library system or apply to big box stores and request for donations. Others you'd have to budget for. However, my mentality is that it's always an investment in future programming, which is a way of cutting costs. The first question you have to answer is, what's your story? I understand, what does this have to do with outreach? By understanding your story, you know your values and what you have to bring to your stakeholders. It shouldn't be too difficult because you're not using imagination to create your story, you're already living it. For example, my library purchased banners to attach our light poles so that every time anyone goes into our parking lot, they understand what they're getting themselves into. It's not a surprise. Everything is there stated. You might be asking, I don't know how to create a story. Well, one of the things that can help is to conduct a community survey. Find out what is working and what is not. Format the questions to make sure you're allowing them to make comments, and their input will allow you to understand their needs and interests. I always recommend creating a short-term strategic plan. This way, all the goals are obtainable, and your staff, board, and patrons can see progress rather than long-term progress, which might take a while to implement those bigger plans and ideas. Once you know who you are and what value you bring to the table, how does this help you with outreach? Using the data, start making those connections. Have your communications pre-written so you don't miss anything or any of the main bullet points. One of the things that can help with that is to automate your content creation. This is also the perfect time to use AI for your advantage. Use it as a tool to speed up the process and allow it to help you save time. This is also a reminder that it cannot do the work for you, but give you a basic layout for you to be able to make it work with your goals in mind. For example, we recently updated our website and only had myself and the head of technology and metadata specialist to work on it for almost an entire year. The company assisted, but we still needed something to work with, and our current site did not offer that. So it was a great tool for ideas, and it gave us recommendations we didn't think about because that's not our main focus. So one of the things in regards, if you use AI or if you already conducted the community survey, if you have the information and you kind of already know the basics of your story, one of the key things that you already know, and I think everyone understands, it's important to build these partnerships with schools, teens and children's librarians, or a designated staff member, because some of us might not have a teen and children's librarian. Some of us might only have a staff of 3. So a designated staff member should actively reach out to the school administrators or librarians to create that meaningful collaborations, possibly conduct a special program on a special collection you own. At Fossil Ridge, we have a decent sized collection of fossils. We have the schools that will make a trip to the library, and we give them a short tour of the library with what we have to offer, and I'll allow the children to touch, which not many museums would even allow their visitors to do. We host an annual art show with students and recently conducted a district show that brought several schools together. This gave us over 400 children and their parents to visit the library within a week. We also have an outreach budget where funds are reserved for schools to conduct low-cost literary educational programs, which saves money for our teachers and school librarians. This again allows us to visit the schools and showcase our library. Sometimes when we host things physically at the library, we know that some families are just too busy to come on by. So instead of that, we then incentivize our schools to allow us to be there and present at the schools by then offsetting some of those costs. And obviously the teachers and librarians welcome that. Now, this is always a tricky subject. As always, this is how do you get the teens inside, right? One of the ideas that some other libraries have done is establish a teen ambassador program. Now, I have to admit, this is the hardest age group to crack unless you already have an already established teens group. This idea will take a few years to get right. You have to stay committed and go with the flow because there's so many extracurricular activities after school. The kids do forget to remember dates, and parents also have to be reminded of things. The Teen Ambassador program has been implemented by the libraries, which I've mentioned, where the teams help promote library activities. The incentive for participants is an incentive into increasing diverse programs. And obviously more kids get to join, so more of their friends are there. Depending on the age of the child, some libraries actually pay their teens because it is work to promote programs. Others use volunteer hours that schools require for graduation. So the next part is the investments, which is always anything costly, right? Do have a platform like MailChimp or Constant Contact. Many will assume who doesn't send emails to their patrons. My library didn't do it in 2021. It's vital that your library is hearing from you. This is minimal. Social media platform is an option, but not everyone has Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, or any type of Instagram account. This is also the best way to build up your portfolio of accomplishments and a great tool to use when figuring out your story. Don't just fill in with programs, have meaningful discussions, share a sweet little library moment. Other things to keep in mind is try to create a digital newsletter using Canva. and use postcards with QR codes to share access links. You can also partner with your town and send out one physical newsletter and share the cost instead of you doing it all yourself. The next thing is host a large open house event. I say open house because your board may question costs and staff might not realize the reason behind organizing a major event. It is obviously to highlight all the library's offerings, including featured programs, unique collections, and special services. For example, Fossil Ridge, we usually host a trunk or treat every year. The event brings in over 500 attendees, and over 25 local businesses and organizations who participated are there to able to promote their own services and are also able to promote the actual event on their own social media platforms, which is a win-win. Let me just go back again with the open house event. I think it's one of those things where you just, again, you have to remind yourself, it's not just a large event. It's just another way of making sure that when people come in, they get to see everything you have to offer. So this is really the day that everything needs to be clean. You're showcasing your library of things, your special collection, unique things, resources. All staff should be on board on this. This is where you say, you're working Wednesday, don't worry about Thursday. We'll see you Friday. It's one of those things where they might have to work extra hours. However, it's essential because of the fact that if you don't have that many large events happening at your library, this is going to be the day that, hey, we have to give it our all. And so I'm very grateful of my staff. I feed them. We work around our schedules. We make sure that everyone's on the same page. It's very coordinated, and we usually discuss it probably 4 to 5 months before the event just to make sure we're all on the same page. The next thing is increased visibility through community events. Okay, we're probably still thinking about costs and wages. Designate a staff member, an incredible volunteer, or yourself to make presence at your community events. That doesn't mean you need to go to their fish fry, but you should have discussions on which one will create the most exposure, like July 4th parade with a booth. Possibly shorten the library hours if you know that the majority of the community will be at a designated event. An investment, obviously, the cost of it would be probably a tent and a tablecloth with your logo, free swag, which is pencil, bookmarks, or even little knickknacks, and possibly offer temporary library card registration. We recently purchased a standing banner that hits all of our main services because we understand not everyone wants to talk to a librarian, and we get it. We still love them. However, people still read and may see something that they're interested in and may want to ask for details. These banners also make great discussion points if you forget what to talk about. Now, the next thing is to improve your local awareness. True fact, majority of my communities have not stepped into the library to use its services. I know, surprising, right? People support libraries because of what they represent and what they offer to the community. But I still want to make sure that my non-users and non-library card holders know what that we're doing and the benefit that the library provides to the communities. We have a staff member who sends out monthly calendar events, flyers, pamphlets, and quarterly newsletters to the town halls, post office, and any organizations that will have us. We also have an outreach vehicle that delivers books to people's homes, and we don't just do homebound. We still take care of our homeschool parents and working adults who can't make it to the library. All the books have flyers and any relevant information they're seeking. Another important thing to do is partner with your local leaders. My favorite is when we work with our police departments, our fire districts for offsite field trips. And the chiefs are always up to doing a story time. It's a great opportunity to host the mayor or any local hero that can make a trip or conduct a program. This type of outreach is affordable, and the photographs you take can be used for e-newsletters that show community love and community support. A quick reminder, do you have a staff member who can handle this type of work? Not everyone is up for being the face of the library. Focus on their strengths instead of their weaknesses. Even if it's outside their scope, it might be a challenge that they're willing to take and add something to their resume. And then the other thing to consider is think about collaborating with not-for-profit organizations. Offer your library space to local groups like Cub Scouts, Girl Scouts, gardening clubs, or gaming groups. As an assistant scoutmaster myself for Pack 385, say what? That's usually the yell. I just don't want to yell it in front of my office. I'm always looking for activities or ways to provide service hours. With a simple call, we can certainly come and help out with garden beds. We're preparing our youth to be responsible, compassionate adults by teaching them important life skills. Please be kind to all NFPs and do not charge for room rentals. I say that personally because most groups are also your residents. They're hardworking parents who may not have the funds to pay $25 for every visit. So it's one of those things where um, if $25 is going to break the bank for the library, then there's other, there's some fiscally concerns in there, and understandable with smaller rural libraries. However, like I stated, most of them will probably bring up the fact that they've already paid the tax money, and they're just wanting to use the space for an hour. I'm all for charging for-profit businesses, but the not-for-profit businesses are there to assist. They're not there to gain anything from it. Now, the neatest thing, and I got to say the neatest thing because it is awesome. Another fine idea is to introduce a mascot. My former director is credited with this idea. At the Palos Park Library, she wanted to have someone that kids could go up to and hug and look forward to when we're hosting an event. I've been working with a company called Promo Bears since September, custom designing a mascot that would bring smiles to kids and give a sense of wonder and desire to visit the library. Currently, his name is Reed the Iguana. He's the cousin of our library pet, Grogu. We do have an iguana as a pet at the library, and yes, it is wonderful, and our staff are always willing to help, unless it decides to hit him with the tail. But that's another thing. And yeah, the the thing with Grogu though is it's another way of implementing a program. We also have the Grogu Green Guardian. The nice thing with the Grogu Green Guardian partnership is we have kids that come in who learn about the habitats of taking care of an animal, who learn how to feed and see what Grogu's temperature needs to be, the humidity rate, and essentially they learn how to take care of animal and the amount of responsibility it takes. And the great thing about it is, at the end, after 4 visits of them assisting, they get to get a certificate and a little gift from us. The nice thing is they get to wear a little zoologist suit. And so, yeah, it's really good. And the parents love it and the kids enjoy it. And the nice thing is, once they're done, they can still assist if they want to, but they're always wanting to come back in the library just to see how Grogu's doing. And Grogu's, I don't think you can tell from there, but we just purchased an enclosure bigger than what he is living now. So that was one of your concerns. Don't worry, that's his old home. With Reed, we added a story. So for example, he loves graphic novels, has a neat birthmark shaped as a heart on his knee that most young children will notice. Reed loves nature, is also a Boy Scout, and he learned how to fish from his grandfather. And I can go on and on. He represents our communities. We have 10 hunting zones within 10 miles and the Kankakee River by us. We are also home to the state fossil Tully. Reed has our logo on his back and shoes. There's so much potential, and I'm looking forward to the many things we can come up with during summer reading and the rest of the year. For example, coloring sheets, events, stickers, temporary tattoos, and so on. If you're wondering as to the cost of Reed the mascot or Reed the iguana, I believe all in at this moment it's $5,000. However, it should last us about 10 years with the mascot suit. So it's one of those things, it's an investment. It's for us, it's for outreach. So getting people to come in, and then Reed gets to visit all the schools, and then he's part of also the events, and then we're also able to use him for marketing purposes. The next thing is the little free library. So this is free advertisement. This is an amazing program. If you don't have it around your area, this is great initiative that I think it should be pushed. And because of the fact that the library could be part of it. You can set up a free little library stocked with bookmarks and promotional materials about library services, create an agreement with your community reps and purchase a little free library for them to cover the installation cost. If you don't have any funds, do reach out to Home Depot, Menards, or Lowe's to see if they're willing to donate the time and supplies. And it's also another project for scouts that can handle too. And do apologize, but it's one of those things where if you're seeking financial assistance, free little libraries, there's a lot of for-profit businesses that are willing to help. I think the most costly thing about it is obviously once installation, some towns or communities do require for you to put a amount of cement down and concrete to make sure it's stable, and some others just decide that you have to put the stake a specific length on the ground. The next subject is launch a book locker service and outreach delivery service. Again, it sounds costly, but I'll continue and hopefully I'll explain enough as to it warrants the cost. We have a book locker service allowing patrons to pick up their materials 24/7. This service was paid for by an ARPA grant through Will County. This has definitely made it easier for any of our patrons who do not have a regular work schedule. The total cost was $18,000. Again, it's one of those things depending on the library. We service 10 different communities. We're the only main library. We don't have a branch, and we cover about 160 square miles. We are not open on Sundays, and we close Fridays at 5 o'clock, and on Saturday we close at 3. So we're not always closing at 8 o'clock, which means there's always times where people are just getting out of work and we're already closed. So to service them and to assist, they can easily pick up any of their materials on hold on the book lockers. And the great thing about it is it doesn't put too much pressure on our staff. When someone registers for a library card and uses for a library card, we can ask them there where they want to place their holds. It's going great, phenomenal. And the nice thing is we have a really nice wrap around it. So people still, our brand is on the book lockers. The outreach vehicle at this moment is the total cost was $28,000 with a car wrap. It's 6 years of oil changes, 6 years of tire protection, and 8 years extended warranty. I wanted to make sure that our maintenance cost per year was low. We average about less than $2,000, mainly from just the use of gasoline. Our current insurance provider also has all of our library personnel insured. However, only 4 staff members, including myself, can drive it. This is also used for continuing education workshops and seminars to decrease mileage reimbursement. We now serve around 60 users instead of the bookmobile service we used to have, which only served 25 users. The maintenance cost averaged about $11,000 per year, with staffing and benefits totaling $100,000 per year. We collaborate with businesses to offer discounts for patrons who show a library card. And there's a lot of ideas that you can do with the outreach vehicle. But with the outreach vehicle, the nice thing is presence and being able to deliver items to people's doorsteps. A lot of the busy parents, a lot of individuals who just cannot make it to the library. Again, this is all depending on your own library size. We've already implemented the bookmobile service since 1994, but with technology changes and improvements, and a lot more people can afford a smartphone, they tend not to want to go onto the bookmobile because they can at least read their audiobooks through different platforms. So it's just another way of adding convenience to people. And for us, the bookmobile service would be about 8 hours a day for 3 to 5 days a week. We deliver books in our outreach vehicle about an hour and a half hours, and that usually is 3 times a week. And then we used to be low in staff. Now we have enough staff that we're able to do extra things around the community, which again increases the outreach and seeing what we can do. One things that we need to consider is the implementation considerations, right? Carefully assign responsibilities to prevent burnout and ensure adequate compensation where possible. Provide training and support for staff to adopt new tools or services. And then obviously is make sure it makes sense and your staff is mentally capable of handling the extra workload. Use surveys and outreach events to identify gaps in understanding and develop educational initiatives to address them. Evaluate. Every library and its users are different. We must adapt and learn from who we are serving. The end goal is always is a better understanding of who we are and how much more can we do in a fiscally responsible way. Uh, and again, thank you for having me. I hope we have some questions. You're welcome to reach out with specific questions. I do want to mention our new site is up Monday, December 16th, 2024. If you want to see the most up-to-date information on Fossil Ridge and its services. Let's see.
So you're welcome to add questions or comments to the chat or jump in on the microphone. If you are welcome, you're welcome to come on camera. Even if you just have an idea you want to share, what's been successful at your library. Have you seen anything at someone else's library that you think was cool? All right. Renee, do you see the question in chat from Tom? Do you use volunteers or friends groups at the pop-up events? Renee, I think you're muted.
I don't get the chat. Where do I?
Well, I can read them out to you.
Okay. So thank you, Tom, for the question. Every library is different. So our library, we don't have volunteers. It's all staff. So we coordinate which staff will be at events, and then they get to have time off. Usually, it's a manager and a part-timer. That way, when we're splitting weekends, they can have the weekend off, or that's their weekend for the month, so they don't have to be concerned about that. In regards to the Library of Friends, again, or Friends of the Library, everyone's different. We actually do not have a Friends of the Library. I try my best to stick with them and have ways of getting them to register and be part of the library. Unfortunately, 100% of our members from Friends of the Library were our board members. So you can see where the difficulty part of, like, if we can't get anyone to commit other than our board members, let's see other ways that we can invest our time and money and making sure that how can we increase funds in the library without having a Friends of the Library. It's unfortunate, but it's been happening a lot to a lot of other libraries, especially after COVID.
What were some of your favorite ideas from Renee's presentation? Anything kind of hit home for you? Something you might want to try?
I'd be interested in looking into book lockers for our library.
Yeah, I
Really,
was just thinking the same thing, Renee. And fun, in fact, I just got an email that my hold fell off because I didn't get to the library in time.
I'm sorry to hear that. That's very disappointing. Now you're back in the line, and hopefully it wasn't something that was a hot book
It
that you
wasn't.
checked out. So the book lockers, it's an interesting process. It's definitely worth it, but it was complicating process because of the fact that time coordination, funds, the wrapping of the lockers, and then temperature control. If it's outside, there's been incidents where the tablet froze, and so we put it inside a charge. If you have a temperature control, you won't have that issue. The machines are made to be outside. It's just things like that happen. I think I'm still sharing my screen so I can show you. So yeah, and it makes it easy. The company that I do work with does have a registration site. So on their new library site, again, don't look at our current website. It's the new one's up Monday. You're going to be able to just register with the smart pods is what we call them. And then the great thing is it already starts. We'll put everything of your information in our system. And the great thing is you get a QR code or a pen and you just go into the machine, you scan the QR code or put in the pin and you can get your holds as fast as that. It's not that difficult. It really And also depending on the individuals who just don't want to go inside and speak to someone, that's easy going and go out. And actually a lot of male users do use the lockers, which because they don't want to talk to anyone, which is fine.
So Julie asks, she's also been working on developing volunteer-based delivery to homebound. Does anyone have any luck with using volunteers? Or Renee, if you have any comments on that.
Again, so this is our outreach vehicle, and they finally updated this page. The vehicle wasn't there before.
So Renee, just so you know, you're still showing the Canva presentation.
Oh man. All right, this whole time. All right, let's see. See if I can change that. Share. And thank you. So it's not awkward. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yay. All right. So we try doing volunteers. We just, again, if we don't have a friends of the library, that already gets to show you as to like the volunteer base. And the issue with the volunteers is, for me as a director, I'm always concerned about liability. One increases liability in the issue of getting sued. And so for me, we only designate 1 or 2 people to do deliveries. Deliveries only take about an hour and a half. We cover 60 homes and 160 square miles. So an hour and a half is pretty good. That's 3 times a week, and that's it. And they're at work. The goal is, we have an app that, this is the nice part, is that you don't know, you won't get it from the website, but we're part of this app where you put all your addresses for the day, all your trips. So it might be, let's say, 12 homes. We'll coordinate everything to make sure which one's the nearest one to the farthest one. So the goal is for you to get back to the library as quick as possible. And we always match it. Everything's good. Again, we're never shorthanded because of the outreach vehicle. It used to be the opposite with the bookmobile. If you can get volunteers, that's great. But in regards to us, for me, it's always the liability and the concern of someone getting injured that doesn't work for us. That's only a volunteer. And I'd rather not put anyone in that type of position if we can't cover them.
So the other Julie, there's 2 Julies, has a question. Do you have any tips for conducting a community survey? We tend to get responses mainly from those who use the library and don't have many suggestions or recommendations.
I know the feeling. You can, and this is something that I've also mentioned my own staff. It's like we can only do so much marketing. We can hit people in the face with the book, but at the end they might not use us. It's we have banners in the parking lot. We have the bookmobile, the outreach vehicle, with our logo on it. We do all these things. At the end of the day, though, is we can only do so much. In regards to the survey, what we've done is, if you send out physical newsletters, it took 2 pages and people were able to fill it out and bring back. I could not care if they had to rip it out, because at the end of the day, if you can get some sort of response, would be great. I believe the first time we did the survey, we had close to 100 entries, which is low. However, for us, is whatever we can use to make sure that we can provide the services. For me, I feel like it's more important if I can get non-users to submit any type of response, because I really want them to just be encouraged to at least use our facilities. That's why right now, services inside the library, we renew plate stickers, because we're in rural. There's not many places you can get your plate stickers. You have to drive about 30 to 40 minutes away from the library. So we do our plate stickers. We work with the state with that. And then we also do hunting and fishing permits, because again, we have 10 hunting zones in the area. It's just another destination. For us, is how many resources can we do to assist, and people can come in and get everything done. But at the same time, is how much more can we do to the point where our staff's mental health is there? Because at the end of the day, what I don't want to do is stress everyone out. So the goal is, there's going to be limits, and we're already at the point where we've done it. We're doing enough, more than other libraries. The one thing I do not want to do is the passport location, and that just has to do with if a passport gets denied, I would not want to put that type of stress onto my staff. If you're able to do it, great. I've heard of other libraries being able to pull off the passport locations. I've heard others that have been able to get $15,000 to $20,000 in revenue from just passports. I just don't want to put my staff in that type of environment and stress. In regards to going back, because I love tangents and Kristen knows this. The surveys is put it on your newsletter, put it on the flyers, maybe put it in a newspaper. If you know you have an older clientele, then purchase an ad for the newspaper and post a survey there, or put a QR code with the survey if they don't want to bring in the newspaper clipping. We have an electronic sign. That was a huge investment. I know a lot of us cannot purchase one, but it was, for me, was if we have the funds for it, it's better for us to be able to show an ad every 5 seconds. That's the typical drive for someone to pass by and be able to read the electronic sign, than to have the old style where we only showcase one program every 3 to 4 weeks. And then there's a liability issue where a staff member would raise the screen and there's a hornet's nest right there and the screen is not stable. So it's one of those like little upgrades here and there. However you can showcase the surveys would be great. Go to your town halls, go to the Parks and Rec, look at those outreach, those not-for-profit organizations that I am telling you to be nice to. You can go to them and say, hey, you have your PTA for schools. You can say, hey, are you guys interested in doing this? We really want to increase programs for your children. You just have to say free and programs to parents, and they're like, oh, okay, great. Here, let me finish this off. Whatever you can do. I think we're in a state of worrying about annoying people, but at the end of the day is we just need to make sure that we're all on the same page and that we understand the importance of libraries, because at the end of the day is we are our own advocates. We are the ones that are advocating for the library. We are it. We're not going to have anyone else advocate for us. So we need to make sure that we're doing that part, so that at times of crisis that we need a referendum or we need monies or assistance in something, people are not going to be hesitant about helping because they've known that you've reached out, that you've increased services, that you've done more. They are seeing proof. If you can show them proof, they will gladly support the library.
Sherry has a comment for you about your newsletter. She asks if it is done in Canva because it's very nice. Do you snail mail or email? And if email, what program do you think is best?
All right, so I forewarned you about going to the current website, so I do apologize. Let me see if I can find it in this thing because I really like, let's see. Give me 1 second. Now, if I can't find it, that's a bad thing. If you can find it. Uh-oh, can you tell it's new? And if I can't find it yet? Yeah, I can't find it yet. And I know you've already found it and I just can't see it. To going back to the newsletter, I wish now I gotta find this newsletter and okay, hold on. This is bad if I can't find it. Let's see, new show. I'm not gonna put myself in that situation. No, maybe there he goes. It was in the about section. All right, then I'll just contact them and say, hey, can we change it and go somewhere else? All right, so I'm not gonna download it. So what we've used was Canva. So obviously I have a marketing background. I've done marketing in other libraries. For even the Palos Park libraries where I started in regards to marketing. And the one thing I needed to make sure is it was visibly pleasing to the eye. People can actually read it and it has all the core information that you really want. The goal is not to just have programs. The goal is to have other things attached to it. Again, tell your story, tell something important, something vital. During the summer, we do 8 pages instead of 4. Any other version is usually just 4 pages, and that really is a lot just of programs. But the summer one is the one that just has a lot, that has all of our vital resources, what we have to offer. Recently, I think we published all of the things that we have covered through our strategic plan, which is great and phenomenal. Again, people get to visually see what we have to offer. What was the other question in regards to that? Because I know it was Canva was one.
What is the email program that you use, if you do?
Oh, so the email program that we use is Constant Contact. It's expensive. And I wish I can find an alternative. The thing is with Constant Contact and like Facebook, um, we've used it for so long. Well, we've used it since 2021, but it's kept a record of everything. So we're able to go back every year and look at a certain month and then see how many views, how many people have opened it, what they've clicked. It just has so much data already integrated that it's going to be difficult for us to just say, let's remove ourselves from this and let's go to a free platform or let's go to a cheaper platform when it has everything. It's the same thing with Facebook. We've used Facebook for so long. I've uploaded family pictures for over 10 years, 17 years, that it's one of those things where I don't want to just delete my page. It has everything. And so it's very difficult to change programs that you've already established for several years. It's expensive. So if you don't have a platform yet, this is a great opportunity to again research for a cheaper platform, an inexpensive one for the library. However, for us, yeah, we're kind of stuck because I don't want to go away from it.
Thank you for that. We actually have a program. We were using one for the longest time and then they like merged with somebody else and we don't necessarily like the one we have.
Yeah.
So, so we're trying to find something different. The reason I really like yours and I understand you use Constant Contact, it seems like the ones that we find that are less expensive, if you want to do a newsletter, you have to use their newsletter program. And it doesn't look all put together and nice like Canva does, because I would love to be able to print it out.
I know what you mean, but like all the newsletters that you see in this page, all of them are from Canva.
Yeah.
But again, this is years of working on it. Even when I hired our first, because I couldn't do marketing. Like I'm already a director, I just can't do other aspects of the library because it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. However, this is like years and years of like updating what I've already done so that the next person who's now my communications marketing is going into it, he'll do a few updates. But this shows who we are and our background and our story. So, and the nice thing is you get to see how we've evolved through the years and how we're using, like, for example, the bigger pictures during the summer, something different to get people's attention. Because a lot of people, what they do is they grab and toss, and the goal is for them not to do that. But no, Canva has been extraordinary. And the great thing is, again, Canva wise, you can do a copy or do a duplicate and then go over it and then just enhance from there. I've never have a problem sharing the source. So if you want, you can email me or Kristen a request and I can easily send you the layout. I have no problem sharing.
Oh,
But
okay, awesome.
Sharing is caring. Never, at the end of the day is you have to remind yourselves, if you can help someone else further along their career and their job and make it easier, awesome. It should never be like, for example, if you find another job, the goal is never going to be, I'm going to make it harder for the next person. That's not the goal. The goal is, how can I make it easier so that they can achieve success? Hopefully you're not leaving a toxic environment, but but the goal is always, how can you help your neighbor or how can you help someone else? And I'm here if you need me.
Librarians are very good at sharing. Thank you.
No problem.
Amy is asking if the Canva newsletters meet digital accessibility standards.
And that is a really great question. So, no, not that I know of. And I'm going to be honest with you. So obviously that is the biggest issue at this moment. And when even going through the website right now, when we were researching as to which platform to go to, which business to go to, we did an auditing questions, and one of the questions, or one of the few questions were, have you done an audit before, an accessibility audit? Have you gone through it? Do you have a background in it? Do you have any type of certification? Tell me that you know what you're talking about. And so when I went through this, the business that I would promote them because they've been phenomenal. This has been library market. And so library market essentially are librarians who work with librarians. They have a library background. Most of them have their master's degree in the library field. And so they answered, yes, we've gone through the audit, and it wasn't the one time that we went through an audit, it wasn't even us. It was an app. It was a third-party app that we had in our website. And they're the ones that weren't accessibility proof. So yes, it is definitely a concern. It is not it's not up to those standards that I know of. And it is going to be difficult for a lot of libraries to change and update what they've already established because of the fact that you need to meet those standards. And I'm not saying I'm against that, because I believe in accessibility, and I believe that everyone has the right to the same information and the right to be able to read and look through the same things that any vision or hearing person should be able to. So it is something that we are looking into it. We just haven't done it because it is a time-consuming thing. And I think one of the goals is going to be to research if there's already a company that can help us design it so that the structure is there. I know, side note, because I did mention AI, and I've used ChatGPT to then be its own agent, AI agent, which I uploaded the PDF documents on how to make sure that a document is accessible. So to the point where there's actually a link that I created where you're able to upload your flyers and upload your documents, and it will then go through the whole documents and tell you if it's compliant or not, which is great and phenomenal. There's no way to create an app with it. But at this moment, the nice things for us is we're able to utilize that tool if need be. But at this moment, as a newsletter, I would really prefer if a company go through it. I might actually go through Library Market again and see if they're able to use their own techniques and computers to establish something for us, which would be great. But no, that's a really good question. I don't want to go around the subject. It's not compatible in that platform. I cannot guarantee that. Is the goal for it to be? Yeah, most definitely. I think everything should be. I don't want to lie. Thanks for asking the question. That was a really good question.
Julie's question is about a text program to send out to those who sign up for it. She uses the Remind app for board reminders. But sorry, there we go. But would like the public to be able to get reminders of things.
No, yeah, definitely. I know Remind, we use it also for my kids' soccer games. It reminds us. It's a really great service. There are other, I don't have any companies in mind right now, but they're affordable. Usually it's about, again, depending on the size of the library that you are and who you're serving. Because if I recall the last time I used the service, it was about a nickel a person or a nickel a text message. So if we're sending it to 1,000 to 2,000 individuals, the same, it's gonna cost. I think if you're going that route, you would have to then create different criteria as to who you're sending it to. So maybe there's only certain adults that want to get a text message, and that might be only 100 adults. So a nickel per text message might be affordable that route than having to send a general one for everyone in total. But you do get response if you do that, and I would do it again, except you would have to create like I said, those certain sections criteria for each one.
We have 10 more minutes left. Any other ideas, questions? Oh, here we go. Tom has a question. Have you approached the small newspapers in the area to put a column in once a month? Most small newspapers are looking for content.
Tom, you are correct. And yes, we actually reached out to do a book review. And we would do a monthly book review, and our staff members would just submit it and they would publish. They had no problem with it. The unfortunate thing about it, Tom, is time. The individual that was in charge of that just did not have the time. We have 13 staff members. None of them have assistants. So it's just when they're head of a department, they are literally the department. So it's very difficult for them to also collection, collection, develop outreach programs. And then you also have to set up the programs. And then there's also other things around the job that they have to do that unfortunately writing a column that they don't have the time to, or they don't, it's not that they don't want to invest time to, but when you're writing a book review column, that means you're reading a book a month. And so for some individuals, a book a month is doable. But if you don't have the time already in, it's difficult to start something of that sort. But whoever loves to read and is able to do that, you should really approach your local newspaper because it does work, and they will say yes. I really love that accessibility question. That was a good one. That is most definitely something we're working on.
I think there's going to be an accessibility PDF session at Reaching Forward South. They're
Okay.
going to talk about how to make PDFs accessible for websites and stuff. which I
Yeah,
think is really great.
it's the thing is, it's not, I'm like, there's so much that goes into design work. And so my brain in the beginning was, you got to make it visibly pleasing and, looks pretty and looks nice, except you don't think about those individuals that might be colorblind or might not be able to read, or you put the font to 10 or 9 because you were trying to fit an article within a flyer, and you're not even considerate about those individuals who says, no, you can't put it that small, it's not legible. So it's, yeah, that was the number one question of the day today. Thank you.
All right, well, if there are no other questions or just ideas, crowdsourcing, I'm going to put in the chat a link to the Small and Rural Library Forum website, where you can see that our next meeting is on December 19th. And anybody is welcome to attend. And if you have ideas for other meetups like this, if you want to talk about what are the future for the small and rural libraries and what kind of projects they can work on, please feel free to come. You can register right on the website there. And I appreciate everybody coming and joining us today. So thank you so much. And thank you, Rene, for your time today. This has been great.
No, I'm in awe. So if anyone has, again, any questions, concerns, or if you still want the layout through Canva with no guarantees on accessibility, do let me know. I have no problem sending it out. I really like, as you can tell, a really good conversation. So if you want to have a conversation with me, most definitely reach out. All right. Oh, email if you don't have it, it's rleyva@fossilridge.org. And then the phone number of the library is 815-458-2187, extension 110.
Really quick, Sherry has got a quick question about the smart pods.
Sorry, I just wanted to know how much they're used. I finally saw a picture of them. I was looking on your website for a picture, but you have it on the new website.
Yes.
Anyway, usage?
So usage we use at this moment, I think it was 55 to 60. It's almost the same thing as our outreach vehicle, 55 to 60 unique users that have been using it per month. But we have that service. People are also able to do the outreach vehicle, and then we also have people coming into the library. So to get their materials, or just, again, we're giving them 3 different options. If you're telling us you're not able to get your materials from the library, it's not on us. We're doing our best. But no, again, it's a really good investment. The only thing that we pay for every year now is maintenance. So for example, if anything breaks or anything harms the book lockers, they will replace it. They've already replaced the tablet once, and something was going on electronically, and then they fixed it. They came in. Usually, time-wise, they come in usually within like 2 to 3 days. Everything that's being sent to the library is expedited. So that tablet, they already told me, they're like, hey, it's going to come tomorrow. However, we're going to have someone come in 2 days to come in, install, and make sure that everything's working fine.
And then how is it that people get into, because I can't tell, it's like, do they put a code somewhere? How do they get their item out of the locker?
Yeah, so if you go into, and again, this is exactly why we have a new website. I know. If you go to the mobile side of the website and you scroll all the way down, there's a video explaining the whole process.
Okay,
Not on the actual website, and I have no comment to the company that we currently have. Monday will be a great day for us for Fossil Ridge. But anyway, what they're able to do is we register them, they come in, or no, they go at home, they place a hold. It dings our computers here at the circulation desk. We scan it in, it already tells us their book locker hold. We put it in the book locker designated to them, which is a number, and it
okay.
opens for us. We close it, and then that's it. The person comes in, scan, they already get a code saying like, hey, your item's here, it's in the book lockers. And there's even a little sheet in front of the book lockers that tells you the steps. And you go in there, you scan your QR code or the actual pin that it tells you, and then the locker automatically opens, and that's it. And then you close
Okay.
it back up. If you have more than one hold, we try our best to put it in one locker, but if you have multiple holds in different lockers, they will all open. So if you're a frequent user, I hope you don't get hit by one of the lockers that opens in front of you. Which I don't think has happened because it tries to it tries to open in the middle. It's designated to open in the middle rather than the top and the very bottom, for obvious reasons.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Has anyone
Right.
gotten injured using a bulk locker? No.
No.
I don't think anyone would confess that they got hit by one of the bins from the bulk lockers, but we'll see.
All right.
No, thanks for asking the question.
Any other last minute questions? All right, everyone be safe and enjoy the upcoming holidays.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.